Chapter 38, Imperatoris sententia. So in chapter 38, we saw the future active infinitive. Looks a lot like the perfect passive infinitive, right? You take the future active participle, which is like the perfect participle, but you insert a UR before the ending, and to that you add a second word, sa. Right? So we'll see a few examples of that in this reading. They are highlighted in yellow. The verbs are underlined in red. The subjunctives are highlighted in green. Also in this chapter, they gave you the perfect subjunctive, both in the active and the passive, and they give you the passive of the pluperfect subjunctive. Okay, so we saw all that. So let's go ahead and look at the italics. So in Alla Domitiani, teaches Flavius Clemens ad finis imperatoris cum Domitiano axius colloquitur, Clemens semper cum imperatore consentire solet verator enim ne idem sibi accidat ac fratri Sabino, qui iussu imperatoris occisus est. So in the palace of Domitian, it's pretty straightforward. Titus Flavius Clemens, a relative of the emperor, is having a talk anxiously with Domitian. Axios, the adjective is describing the subject, so we can usually take that as an adverb, as you know. Clemens always is accustomed to agree, consentire, consent, agree, with the emperor, enim, for, since or because. He's afraid. Here we have another clause of fearing, which we'll see in an upcoming chapter, but we haven't seen yet. So we talked about this before, though. So introduced by a verb of fearing, so for he was afraid. Okay, and then nay doesn't mean not, take as lest or that. So for he is afraid lest the same thing should happen to him as to his brother Sabinus, who Occisus was killed by means of the order of the emperor. So by the order of the emperor. So a clause of fearing again. Domitian says, Decorum est mihi, me clemens, libros tuos honorare, non modo propter ad finitatem nostrum, sed etiam ab virtutes tuas, ego ipse ut scis libros nullos habeo, qui imperium post mortem meam exerciant, constitua igitur filius tuos in familia meam asciscere, cognomina Domitianum et Vespasianum eis Davo. Praeterea, retorum notissimum eis praeficiam Marcum Fabium Quintilianum, procurto habeo Quintilianum, eos optime doctorum esse. Right. So it is the adjective for the dative to do the infinitive, right? It is right for me, my Clemens, vocative, to honor your children. Right? Not only, but also, next line, right? Gotta have both. Not only because of our relation, being relatives, but also because of your virtues. I myself, as you know, have nullos libros, no children, who imperium post mortem meam exerciant, present subjunctive exerciant, relative purpose clause. Right? This would be the purpose of him having children, right? To exercise imperium, the imperial power, after my death. Right? So that's both the relative clause describing libros and also the purpose here of having them. Grammatically here, right? So constitute. I decided, therefore, to asciscere, to adopt your sons into my family. Ace Davo, I will give to them. Right? Davo, I will give. Future B. Remember, with to give, you're expecting the accusative thing being given, cognomina, and also a dative to whom. So to them from the SAIA pronouns. So I would give the cognomens to them, Domitian and Vespasian. Beyond this, praeficiam, I will put in charge of them the very well-known rhetor Marcus Fabius Quintilian. So I have it for certain, so I know for sure that Quintilian, indirect statement here, doctorum esse, a future active infinitive. Right? So we have the future active participle plus esse. Don't mistake it for a perfect passive. So he is going to teach them optime very well. Clement says, Gratias maximus tibiago domine, quod meis filius asciscendis me tanto honore efficis, ego semper ... All right, so I do the greatest thanks to you, Lord, because meis filius asciscendis. So it says abelimine. So you treat me how? With such honor, right? Great honor. You treat me with great honor, such honor. All right, so this is a means here, and this is a gerundive. So if you're going to be laborious about this, we could say, by means of my sons to be adopted. Right? But when it sounds too awkward, you can just take it more simply here as by means of adopting my sons. So by means of my sons to be adopted, take it more simply, by means of adopting my sons. If it sounds too awkward, you can shift it. Right? That'll be important in your translation. So because you treat me with such great honor, right, by means of adopting my sons, I always, enough, pauca nunc Paula, filia tua, loqui velum. Credo palum quattuor decim annos iam natum esse, intellegere non possum quare illa in matrimonium nondum collocata sit. She's an old maid. Enough. So, velum, we know now that is the present subjunctive of velo. I would like to say, loqui, the infinitive of loquor, I would like to say, palca, a few things or words, right, neuter plural, now about Paula, your daughter. Yeah, here it comes. I believe, indirect statement, Paula natum esse. Paula has been born now for 14 years, so she's 14 years old. I don't understand, non possum intellegere, why, for what reason, she has not yet been placed in marriage. Right? Perfect passive subjunctive here, right? You make the helping verb est, make that subjunctive. Est is present, so we go to the present subjunctive for that. The whole thing together is a perfect passive subjunctive. I don't understand why she hasn't been placed in marriage yet. She's 14. What are you waiting for? It's practically collecting Social Security. Lord, Domitian. Virum quendam cognovi, oh, I thought he would, qui omni modo filia tua dignus est. Commendo tibi sparsum, senatorum summa virtutis, qui magnus divitias possidet. So, I know, yeah, it's perfect, but you can translate this a tense ahead. It's like I've gotten to know. The end result of that is I know. We've talked about this before. I know a certain man who is worthy, takes the ablative, right? Is worthy of your daughter in every way. I recommend to you Sparsus, a senator of the greatest virtue, genitive of description, right? Who possesses great riches. But, Lord, he has been born now for 50 years, so he's 50 years old. Sparsus has. There's our nominative. Almost overlooked it. Yes, he flourishes with age. He flourishes with age. He flowers with age. Flourishes by means of age. But having been married, having been joined in matrimony, literally, twice, he divorced each wife. Repudiated, divorced. Procerto habeo, so I have it for certain, so I'm really sure, indirect statement, that eum repudiatorum esse, he never, numquam, will divorce a relative of the emperor. Well, that's a good point. You're not going to do that. What more? I promise that sparsus futurum esse, another future active, will be to you a most pleasing son-in-law. This is my opinion, which if dissensorus, so it's a future perfect, if you will have disagreed, I will change. Sure. But first, tibi explicandum erit, right? So this is a past periphrastic. So but it's with the erit, a future here, right? Doesn't affect it too much, just makes it will have to be explained by you. Right? So it will have to be explained by you first why you disagree. Right? Indirect question, so a present subjunctive here. Oh, should have highlighted that. Snag that real fast. Oops. There we go. Right. So it's going to be a wedding. A 50-year-old and a 14-year-old. Meanwhile in Rome. Right. So until next time.